Okay, that wonderful time. Another TTPFL report trying to go football, Premier League. Why they change it from Pro League to Premier League, I'll never know, but we don't need to fixate on these things. They're not going to tell us. All right, let's talk about it. We had a good weekend of football. As usual, we have to thank Wave TV for stepping up, and their production gets bigger and better. As usual, if you like what you're hearing, click like, share, subscribe, and so on, right? Let's look at the game. Sando versus AC Port of Spain. Competitive match, good match, and it was a 0-0 draw. Then you had Point 14 versus Rangers. The week before, Point was manhandled by Prisons. And much more competitive effort by Point 14 down south, and they drew 1-1 with Rangers. Came late on in the game. Had a very decent player coming on in the second half, a fellow by the name of Kevin Williams, if I'm pronouncing the first name right. It was kind of hard to hear the commentators, but Kevin Williams. Then on Saturday, Central versus Cali. This one for me was too close to call, and I was quite right. A very, very competitive 2-all draw. LaShawn Roberts, ex-defense force, scoring 2 penalties um, for Cali. I'm pretty sure the second goal was a penalty. You'll correct me if I was wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, it was 2 penalties by LaShawn Roberts. Then they had Eagles versus Defense Force. Well, people expected Eagles to lose, and lose they did by a score of 10-0. Ja. All right. Sunday, Phoenix. 1976 Phoenix went up against Prisons. You know, Prisons looked really good 2 weekends ago, beating Point 14 3-0. Phoenix went to police and surprisingly was leading 1-0 and drew 1-all. I found myself wondering, is Prisons that good? Maybe Point is just that bad, but Prisons played very well against Phoenix, beating them 3-0. Phoenix were not outplayed, but I think the difference was finishing. Phoenix just didn't put it all together in the final quarter of the field. Prisons, on the other hand, their first 2 goals, some wonderful, wonderful shots from the outside. Really, really nice shots. And really, really, 2 players in particular I like were Brendan Figuera and Jeremiah Vidal. Vidal I've known about for the last 2 years, playing for Prisons. And, he was someone, I think he's about 22, 23 now. I expected him to be on the under 23 team when they trained because he's that good. Surprised that another club hasn't hopped him up because he was the standout player for Prisons for the last 2 years. This guy Figuera, first time I'm really seeing him. I live abroad. I don't see a lot of football. He's roughly 34 years of age. He used to play for Samoa back in the day and a couple other clubs. He's been with Prisons now for I think maybe 2 seasons. Really looked good in the midfield. Really did good look in the look good in the midfield. And the only thing stopping him from going from club to club right now is probably age. Certainly not ability. The man did look good. And then you had Police versus Samoa. I expected Samoa to win as Police were away from home, and Samoa has a good team. And yep, they went from 1-all to a 4-1 victory for Samoa. Samoa went in the lead. Nice Jovan Jones corner. The Police equalized, and then in the end, the quality showed, and Samoa won 4-1. A young team, a team that I think is just getting bigger and stronger. And if unlike some of the Trinidad clubs, they don't start selling off their players, this team can really go somewhere. As we saw, they gave Defense Force a very good run for their money the week before. So we're going to take a look now at the standings and discuss that just a little bit. Okay, so let's look at this standings right here. You can see in 9th and 10th spot, it's Phoenix and Prisons respectively. Now, Prisons just beat Phoenix, and they were 9th and 10th, and they still are, but Prisons is now 1 point within the 9th spot. And just 2 points ahead of Phoenix is La Hoquita with 14 points. So really, Prisons could very theoretically hit the top 8. Don't know if they can do much better than that. Now let's look, of course, Defense Force way ahead of everyone on 42 points. And 14 points behind, you got Central. But second, third, and fourth, you see just basically a point separating each team. Central 28, Samoa 27, Port of Spain 26. And not too far behind is Police on 23. I don't think Police is going to quite crack the top 3 or 4 this year. I think they don't have the quality that they did last year. And they'll play some good games, but I don't think they're making the top 4. I think second, third, and fourth is a toss-up between Central, Samoa, and AC Port of Spain. And you can see AC Port of Spain in 4th spot right now. Now, AC Port of Spain in the last 6 games have drawn 5 and won 1. Drawn 5 and won 1. Um, Between December January, they lost John Paul Rochford, Jay Benny, Dwayne Muckett, and obviously, especially since the loss of the latter two, this has left a void, a huge void, and it has certainly affected their win ratio. It's a huge slide for them, and they're just consistently starting to slide down while the other teams make ground. Samoa has been playing well. They just hammered Police 4-1 recently. The week before that, very competitive 3-1 loss to the number one team in the country, Defense Force. So, really, I think Central and Samoa will fight up the second and third spot. And I think a dark horse for cracking the top four would be Caledonia. Caledonia, except for, I think it was a 6-2 shellacking from Defense Force, has been very competitive against all teams, narrowly winning or losing. They lost in injury time recently to La Hoqueta Rangers. They drew with Central FC, and this team is playing well. They've got a lot of football left, and with the exception of Eagles, who they will play, the rest of their games is not decided. It could go either way. It could go either way. It's up to Caledonia to decide how they can perform, but they can perform. And Caledonia has not been rolled over by the other teams. And I think, they are dark horse for cracking the top four. And second and third, I rarely see it being second and third, a toss up between Central FC Samoa and AC Port of Spain. And right now, maybe Central and Samoa, because AC Port of Spain has got a lot of work to do. They're just giving up too many points. They've lost 3 key players. There's a void, and they have not been able to adequately fill that void. So some good football. Defense Force, of course, looks like they're going to run away with this tournament. It's just, can anybody even draw with Defense Force at this point? They've had some close games. They've certainly had some close games, and it'll be interesting to see what will happen for the rest of the league. So let's see what happens. And La Hoqueta Rangers must be disappointed. They're in 8th spot. Every season they seem to do worse. Every season they seem to underperform. Okay, they've been winning and losing a lot of their games in the last minute of injury time. Their owner must be a frustrated man. Okay, I want to talk about a few players in TTPFL. I may have mentioned some before, but I'll just quickly go over them. Shaves, AC Port of Spain, I believe is his team. And, the thing with Shaves, I really like this guy. Good player. He was fast-tracked onto the national senior team. Nice player, ex-Fatima. He broke his leg, came back, and he does not seem quite the same. That extra bit of flair just does not seem there. And, with AC Port of Spain losing some players, this was a chance for him to step up and stamp his authority. I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to see him play some more. I'm going to see him play this weekend. And, bouncing back from a broken leg is not an easy thing. You might remember Ngozi Blackman. He got a contract with Man United, came home, broke his leg in a car accident. His career never recovered from that. Never. Didn't even play top flight in Trinidad and Tobago. Karen Cummins got shot in the leg some years back. Never again played for the national senior team. So I hope I'm wrong with Shaves. Shaquille Bertrand, wonderful player for Defense Force. I believe he's about 34 years of age, if the net is correct. Amazing that he has that level of skill at 34, playing up front like that. Wonderful player. Keep your eyes out for him. He looked good against Samoa 2 weekends ago. And, he was killer against Eagles. Did a scissors kick and scored, which has to be candidate for goal of the year. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, look out for it. Okay, I believe I mentioned Kevin Williams from Point. Yes, and I've mentioned from Prisons, Jeremiah Vidal and Brendan Figuera, 2 very good players. And lastly, I just want to touch base about LaShawn Roberts. Really like this guy. I always bring him up every once in a while. 2 years back, he was a super sub for Defense Force. Came off the bench, having to play, come off the bench for people like Sam and Rion Moore and so on. And would come on fast, forward, aggressive, could shoot from the outside, was scoring almost a goal a match, despite being a sub. I was really high on him. Didn't see him last year. Reached out to him. He was injured and playing with Defense Force second team, trying to recover. This season, he started off with Phoenix. I didn't really see him play a lot, so I don't know, but I know he didn't play that much for Phoenix. Sometimes he started, sometimes he was on the bench. And he has now transferred over to Cali. Now, Cali has been bringing in some decent players from all over the country. And LaShawn Roberts is one of those players. Now, LaShawn is fast, aggressive, and can shoot from the outside. The Lashon I'm seeing can still shoot with left foot or right foot. Yeah, he scored 2 goals in their recent match against, I believe it was AC Port of Spain, with a 2-all draw. But no, sorry, I lied to you. Central with a 2-all draw. But yeah, I'm not seeing that dribbling, that pace I usually saw 2 years back. And I don't know if it's the injury, but I hope that this Lashon guy can recapture that form, because the guy I saw 2 years back, that was a guy I would have wanted training with the national team. Really aggressive and really made things happen. He made things happen on the field. People like him and Rion Moore together at the same time could be very tricky for the opposition. So I wish Lashon all the best in going forward in his career. And lastly, I always forget this stuff, so I'll make sure to write it down this time to try not to forget anything. Okay, there'll be matches coming up this weekend. There'll be another video. I'll make some predictions. You guys can share your predictions with me. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. Lastly, I have here TTPFL give Weave some credit. What do I mean by this? You know, since this season started, the TTPFL has been, I had to just say, plain rude and unconcerned with regarding their lack of communication. When they would say, look, here's our match on Sportsmax. Bam, no match. Bam, no match. People set aside their blasted time, especially the foreign-based. And they're no match, and you've wasted a 2 hours or a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. They then have the temerity sometimes to put up an ad with a football match and Sportsmax on it. And I even once put a post under the ad, the promotion. Is Sportsmax really going to show this match, or is it going to not show like it has in the past? Nobody would answer. And of course, every single time, just about, no Sportsmax. Okay, you know, you could communicate yourself. There's a certain professionalism. You don't want to disenchant your audience. Then Wave TV stepped up. Wave TV was showing football. Even no ads, Wave TV kept stepping up. And for the last 2 weekends, Wave TV has continued to show every match and will show every match this upcoming weekend. Do you know, not once has the TTPFL on their Facebook page said, hey, Wave TV is showing, here's a live stream. Why is it you can tell people about Sportsmax when they're not showing football, but you can't tell people about Wave TV when they are showing football? It's your product that they're putting out there. Okay, sometimes at no revenue to themselves. Somebody told me, well, you know, boy, they don't want people to watch it on TV. They want people, I mean, this is allegations by fans saying they want people to actually come to the match, not watch it on TV. So they buy tickets. I want to believe that is completely untrue, that the PFL cannot be that hard up, that they're hiding information about live streams of their own matches. I understand you want people to come to the match. You just promote football, and let the clubs promote as well. But you know, you're also marketing this league to people around the world, the foreign base. Look at this. When I have had foreigners, I'm not joking, Eastern and Western European people contacting me on my unofficial Facebook PFL page and asking me about the schedules. Another thing, oh God, give us the schedules now, man. A season ago, there was a schedule. I had to click on the information page of the Facebook page. It wasn't bold and up front for people to see. And then somebody sent me a schedule for this year, which was wrong because they had games carded for a Wednesday, and that's not happening. It's not that hard to put a schedule on somewhere where people could click on it, all right? But yeah, these foreigners have been contacting me and saying, look, we're coming to Trinidad, we want to see a PFL match. Can you tell us the schedule? I said, look, boss, good luck, because the schedule I have, I know is not right, and they don't tell you about matches until about 3-4 days before. Contact them yourself and see if you can get a schedule. And hopefully they did, and hopefully they were assisted. You know, people like Trinidad football ever since the 06 World Cup, watching us play against England. I'm shocked that they want to follow our PFL. But, you know, and this is how you market your league. People come home, they spend money to buy tickets. This is how players get noticed and maybe get contracts abroad. You want to market and brand your league. The Jamaicans are doing a marvelous job. I'm jealous when I see what the Jamaicans are doing. So I know the PFL, your job is not an easy one. You have budgetary restraints maybe like anybody else. But, you know, the common courtesy of communicating with your fans should not be beyond you. This is your 3rd season. All right. I've suggested in the past, you guys just put up a page and let people pay to come and access games, and you know, have the TV crews film it. It's not an easy thing to do, but you've had 2-3 years to organize this, you know, with the local stations. It's really quite sad. It's really quite sad, and I think at least have a little courtesy, recognize Wave TV, recognize what they've done. It's been a godsend for people living abroad like myself. At some point, the PFL has to do more than give people prizes at the door for showing up at a football match. You need to promote and market your league like a true professional league. I tried to be patient the first 2 seasons because I know the league is progressing, it's evolving. But this is the 3rd season. I'm not making any more excuses for you all. Get it right, okay? And lastly, as I said, evolving, no doubt about it, the standard of football has really risen overall in the league comparison to 2 years ago. So I wish the league the best. I wish the players the best. I wish Wave TV the best for continuing to bring football into our living rooms abroad. I am so happy on our weekend. Can you believe that? I'm not watching Premiership, but I'm watching the PFL. So predictions coming soon. Thank you for supporting our TTPFL.